Oh, hello again, welcome to the VK6CS Amateur Radio channel. This is the restored HT transformer for my linear amplifier, and I'm just going to try a couple of quick tests with it. Now, just for comparison, here's for size comparison. There's a transformer there from a microwave oven. And I was toying with the idea of using a couple of microwave oven transformers to power the amplifier. I've seen people do it before, and I thought, don't like it much. But push comes to shove, that's what I'll do. The problem with microwave oven transformers is one side of the high volt winding is actually connected to the frame of the transformer here. So the only real, or the safest way to use these, because this high voltage winding is not, the insulation on it is not good enough to take that off the frame, is to use two identical transformers and use the ground as the centre tap. So it would be 2500 or 2500 probably, with two transformers parallel the primaries. But anyway, I'm glad I didn't have to do that, because I have a much more suitable transformer, as you can see. So let's get the microwave oven transformer out of the way and get a multimeter. Okay, now you can see that multimeter there. There we go. I don't know if that's good enough for you to actually see the needle, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply something like half of the primary voltage. So the primary goes in here. This meter is set to 250 volt AC range. As you can see, it's reading 0 at the moment. I'll just turn that up. So if I turn that up to there, okay, that's 125 volts AC on the primary. So I'll put it on the 1000 volt range and see what's on the secondaries. So this is secondary number 1. That is the 1000 volt range, that's 1000 volts there, so that's 500 and a bit volts. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So that's, what's that? That's 1000 volts, that's 500 and, I don't know, that's probably 530 volts on there. I'll just try the other secondary. And that looks identical to me. So now let's just apply full primary voltage. So we go back to the 250 volt AC range. I don't know if you can see that actually, but anyway, that's the 250 volt AC range. That's showing about 125 volts. So that's 200, that's 210, that's 225, 230, 235, 240. So if I wind that up to there, there we go, that's 240 volts input. And I then go to the secondaries. Let's change it to 1000 volt range, be good, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, can you see that? That's pegging the needle there. That's on the 1000 volt range. Actually, let's just turn that down to show exactly 1000 volts. There we go. From where I'm looking down on that meter, that's 1000 volts. That's on secondary number 1. That's secondary number 2. And that's it's a needle's breadth difference. Let's just get that on there. Have I moved? Is that a needle's breadth difference? Get in there. Okay, let's try that one. You can see how different it is. I'm having to. No, I don't think it is actually. I think they're identical. So they're both showing exactly 1000 volts there. And if I go to the input on the primary side, so if I've got that right, so that's 205, 210, 215, 220, 225, 230. Yeah, so that's 225, 230. So that's 235. So that's 240 there. That's 240 there. And with that on 240, they're both off the clock. There we go. On the 1000 volt range. Great. So the transformer appears to be working perfectly. I did have a bit of a nasty surprise. Initially, I put a fuse in here. I've just got a fuse in here on the. This is the AC for the HT. Next one is going to be the AC for the filaments heaters. Next one is the AC for the relay supply. And I fired it up. I measured the secondary voltages, and it was all fine. Turned it off. Set the camera up, flicked the switch to measure it again, blew the fuse. Now I only put a low current fuse in here for these tests so that if there's anything wrong it's not going to hurt anything. I've put a 500 milliamp fuse in. And I thought, what's gone wrong? And had a look at it, couldn't find anything wrong, everything measured fine, put another fuse in, it worked. Turn the AC switch off, turn the AC switch back on, so nothing had changed, fuse blew. So then I did a bit of Googling and I found out that transformers with unloaded secondaries can do that, can have an awful lot of inrush current, more so than when the secondaries are actually loaded and can blow the fuse. So I thought, okay, well hopefully that's what's happening. Whenever I've done anything like this before, I've always had a variac to wind the things up and down. You know, I've never really just plugged a transformer in and measured the AC voltage on it. I've either built the power supply and fired it up, or I've wound the thing up on a variac. So I thought, well, I've got a variac, and thanks to Al, I'll try it with the variac. And I've tried it a number of times with the variac, and it works a treat every time. So that fuse blowing was just down to that inrush current because of the unloaded secondary. So if you're mucking around with transformers and you find that your unloaded transformer is blowing the fuse on the primary, don't panic, because there's chances are there's nothing wrong with your transformer. So anyway, I hope you could see what I was doing there. I'm sure there are those out there saying, how reckless! But that's just me, you know. Reckless is my middle name. So there we are. So there's the transformer, and I can almost hear it begging me to install it into the amplifier immediately. I'm afraid it's going to have to wait simply because of its heft. So I'll be marking out where it's going, drilling the holes so that it can be mounted. But that is actually the last thing that will go into the amplifier, simply because it'd be too difficult to manipulate the amplifier case with that to do the other work with that transformer in there. But that HT transformer looking good. There we are. So I hope you found that interesting. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.